While you're just beginning to suspect something's wrong, she's already 3 steps ahead, building a case to destroy you in court. Yes, 90% of cheating wives follow the same ruthless playbook. Flip the blame, play the victim, and leave you with nothing but confusion, loss, and pain. You think you're uncovering an affair, but what's really happening is the start of a psychological war that could cost you your home, your kids, your savings, and your name. Stick with me, because what I'm about to reveal might shock you, but it could also save your life from being turned upside down. And before we dive into this harsh truth, hit subscribe, tap like, and drop your city in the comments. I want to know where my brothers are tuning in from. This is the part no one tells you. When she betrays you, she doesn't just leave. She plots your downfall. And the legal system? It's the weapon she knows exactly how to use. Most men go into divorce believing that justice and truth matter. But what you're really walking into is emotional warfare, masked as legal fairness.
Most men enter legal battles thinking fairness and truth matter, but they're walking into emotional warfare disguised as legal proceedings. Women don't just leave marriages. We orchestrate exits that protect us while destroying you. Number 1. Preemptive violence accusations. Your cheating wife's first and most powerful weapon is accusing you of domestic violence before you even know she's planning to leave. This isn't random, it's strategic psychology. When women feel guilty about betraying you, that guilt quickly transforms into rage, and rage needs a target. Instead of facing her own actions, she flips the script and makes you the villain. The female mind has an incredible ability to rewrite history when threatened. She doesn't consciously decide to lie about violence. She genuinely starts believing that your normal reactions to her suspicious behavior were actually signs of abuse. That time you raised your voice when you found strange texts, that becomes emotional terrorism. The time you asked direct questions about her whereabouts, that becomes controlling and threatening behavior. Women are naturally gifted at creating emotional narratives that justify our actions. When she's cheating, every moment of tension in your relationship gets reframed as evidence of your abusive nature. She convinces herself that her affair was actually an escape from your toxic behavior, which makes her feel less guilty about the betrayal. The preparation for these accusations is methodical and terrifying. She starts documenting every raised voice, every moment of frustration, every time you seem angry or upset about her behavior. What you think are normal relationship conflicts, she's reframing as a pattern of abuse that she'll present to lawyers and judges. Women excel at playing the victim because society has trained us to be believed automatically. When a woman cries and claims fear, the system responds with immediate protection. She knows that judges, lawyers, and law enforcement will instinctively side with a tearful woman claiming to be afraid of her husband's anger. The most insidious part is how she mobilizes other women to support her narrative. Female friends become instant witnesses to your controlling behavior. Family members are told carefully crafted stories about your anger issues. She builds an entire support network that validates her version of events before you even know there's a problem. This psychological manipulation works because women understand emotional storytelling better than men understand factual defense. While you're trying to explain what actually happened, she's creating an emotional experience for everyone listening. Her tears, her fear, her trembling voice, these become more convincing than any facts you can present. The legal system responds to these accusations with devastating speed. Within hours, you can be removed from your own home, banned from contacting your children, and facing criminal charges based purely on her emotional testimony.
The presumption of innocence disappears when a woman claims to fear for her safety. But this is only the beginning. While you're still processing her betrayal and trying to understand why she's attacking you, she's already launching her second assault on your finances. Number 2, financial warfare through victimhood.
While you're reeling from discovering her affair, your cheating wife is systematically positioning herself as an economically abused victim who deserves immediate financial protection. This isn't just about dividing assets. It's about convincing the legal system that she was financially controlled and now needs emergency support to survive your economic abuse. The female psychology of financial victimization is sophisticated and calculated. She retroactively reframes every financial decision you made together as evidence of your control over her. Joint bank accounts become financial imprisonment. Shared credit cards become economic manipulation. Even her own spending decisions get reframed as things she was forced to do under your financial tyranny. Women have a natural understanding of how to weaponize helplessness. She presents herself as someone who is kept financially dependent and now faces destitution because of your controlling behavior. The woman who had access to all accounts and made independent purchases suddenly became someone who was denied basic financial freedom. The preparation for this financial assault begins long before she files anything legal. She starts creating paper trails that support her narrative of financial abuse. She documents times when you questioned expenses or wanted to discuss budgets as controlling behavior. She saves screenshots of conversations where you expressed concern about spending as evidence of economic manipulation. Female social networks become crucial in this financial warfare. Other women validate her claims of being financially controlled and provide emotional testimony about her struggles under your economic dominance. These friends become witnesses to her brave efforts to gain financial independence from your oppressive control. The most devastating aspect is how she uses motherhood as a financial weapon. Her role as a mother becomes justification for immediate and substantial financial support. She's not just a cheating wife. She's a struggling mother who needs protection from the man who controlled her access to money and now threatens her children's security. Women excel at creating financial emergencies that require immediate legal intervention. She'll claim inability to access funds, fear of financial retaliation, and concern about her children's basic needs. These emotional appeals trigger automatic responses from family court judges who are trained to protect vulnerable women and children. The legal system responds to female financial distress with immediate support orders. Emergency hearings grant her access to marital funds while you restrict your financial freedoms. She gets temporary maintenance while you face scrutiny over every financial transaction. The woman who betrayed your marriage becomes the person the court protects from your financial abuse. But while she's systematically draining your financial resources, she's preparing her most emotionally devastating attack, using your own children as weapons against you. Number 3, children as emotional hostages. The most heartbreaking weapon in a cheating wife's arsenal is transforming your children into evidence of your unfitness as a father. This isn't just about custody. It's about weaponizing the most sacred relationship in your life to justify her betrayal and secure her legal victory. Female psychology around motherhood becomes terrifyingly powerful during divorce warfare. The same maternal instincts that once protected your family now focus entirely on protecting her from the consequences of her actions. She doesn't consciously decide to hurt your relationship with your children. She genuinely convinces herself that protecting them from you is necessary for their well-being. The transformation is gradual but devastating. Your normal parenting decisions become concerning behavior that she documents for legal proceedings.
Your frustration about her affair becomes anger issues that threaten your children's emotional safety. Your attempts to maintain authority in your own home become controlling behavior that creates a toxic environment for the children. Women have natural advantages in emotional manipulation of children that most fathers never anticipate.
She doesn't tell the children that daddy is bad. She creates emotional situations where they feel unsafe or uncomfortable around you. Her tears become their anxiety. Her fear becomes their confusion about why mommy seems scared when daddy is angry. The documentation process is methodical and heartbreaking. She records conversations where you discipline the children as evidence of aggressive parenting. She photographs your children after they've been crying about the family conflict as evidence of the emotional damage you're causing. She saves their innocent comments about family tension as proof that they're afraid of your anger. Female social networks again become crucial witnesses to your problematic parenting. Other mothers suddenly have concerns about your behavior around children. Teachers and caregivers are alerted to watch for signs of your emotional abuse. Your children's normal reactions to family stress become symptoms of your negative impact on their well-being. The most insidious aspect is how she uses your love for your children as emotional blackmail. She knows that threatening your access to them is the one thing that will break you completely. Your desperation to maintain contact with your children becomes evidence of your obsessive and controlling nature. The legal system responds to maternal concerns about fathers with immediate protective measures. Emergency custody orders restrict your access to your children based on her emotional testimony about their safety. The presumption mothers know what's best for children becomes a legal reality that destroys your relationship with them. But while she's systematically alienating your children from you, she is simultaneously launching a broader assault on your reputation and social standing. Number 4. Social destruction through female networks. Your cheating wife's most underestimated weapon is her ability to mobilize female social networks to destroy your reputation and isolate you from community support. This isn't just gossip. It's a coordinated psychological campaign that transforms you from a betrayed husband into a dangerous predator in the eyes of everyone who matters. The female psychology of social warfare is instinctive and devastating. Women naturally understand how to create and control emotional narratives within social groups. She doesn't need to lie outright. She simply presents carefully selected facts that create the impression of your guilt, while hiding her own betrayal behind a narrative of survival and courage. The transformation of your marriage history into her survival story is gradual but complete. Normal relationship conflicts become years of emotional abuse. Your reactions to her suspicious behavior become escalating violence. Your discovery of her affair becomes the final explosion that forced her to escape for her safety. Female social networks provide instant validation and amplification of her narrative. Other women immediately rally around the brave survivor who finally found the courage to leave her abusive husband. They don't question her story. They provide emotional support that confirms her version of events and encourages others to see you as a threat. The professional destruction begins subtly through concerned conversations with mutual colleagues and acquaintances. She doesn't directly accuse you of wrongdoing. She expresses worry about your behavior and concern for your mental state. These conversations create professional risks as people begin questioning your stability and reliability. Social media becomes a weapon of mass reputation destruction. She posts carefully crafted messages about finding strength and protecting her children that imply danger without making direct accusations. The comments section fills with support from other women who validate her courage and condemn your behavior without knowing what actually happened. Women excel at creating emotional contagion within social groups. Her tears and fear become shared emotions among female friends who feel personally invested in protecting her from you.
They spread her narrative through their own networks, creating exponential expansion of the reputation damage. The most devastating aspect is how this social destruction creates long-term isolation that extends far beyond the divorce proceedings. Your social standing in community organizations, professional networks, and family relationships suffers permanent damage. People remember the emotional story of her survival long after they forget the legal details of your innocence. The coordinated nature of female social support makes it nearly impossible to counter these reputation attacks. While you're focused on legal defense and factual accuracy, she's creating emotional experiences that bond other women to her cause. Your attempts to defend yourself are seen as typical abuser behavior of denying and minimizing your actions. But the most sophisticated attack combines all these elements into a coordinated assault that mobilizes the entire institutional system against you. Number 5. Institutional mobilization. The final and most devastating attack involves transforming your cheating wife from a guilty party into a protected victim by mobilizing every institution in society to defend her from you. This isn't just about divorce court. It's about turning law enforcement, social services, schools, and even your workplace into weapons against you. The female psychology of institutional manipulation is both intuitive and strategic. Women naturally understand how to present themselves as vulnerable and in need of protection. She doesn't need to prove you're dangerous. She just needs to appear fragile enough that institutions feel compelled to protect her from potential harm. The law enforcement mobilization begins with her fears about your reaction to the divorce proceedings. She doesn't claim you've threatened her. She expresses concern about your anger and unpredictable behavior. This creates a paper trail of her reasonable fears that justifies police intervention when you react normally to legal provocations. Every institution responds to female distress with protective measures that assume male guilt. When she calls police about feeling threatened, they respond as if the threat is real regardless of evidence. When she contacts your employer about concerning behavior, they take precautionary measures that damage your professional standing. The judicial system becomes her most powerful institutional ally through family court proceedings that prioritize her safety over factual accuracy. Judges trained to protect vulnerable women accept her emotional testimony as evidence while treating your factual defenses as typical abuser denial. The presumption of innocence disappears when institutional bias favors female victimhood. The most insidious aspect is how these institutional interventions create cascading effects that justify additional protective measures. Each investigation, each restraining order, each safety restriction becomes evidence that supports the next level of institutional protection. The system builds a legal reality around her narrative that becomes increasingly difficult to challenge. The long-term consequences extend far beyond the immediate divorce proceedings. Employment background checks reveal restraining orders and domestic violence investigations.
Professional licensing boards review reports of concerning behavior. Your reputation carries permanent damage from institutional responses to her emotional appeals. Now that you understand the female psychology behind these devastating legal attacks, you need to know how to protect yourself. When you understand how these systems work, you can prepare defensive strategies that protect your interests and your children. Documentation becomes crucial when you recognize early warning signs of legal warfare preparation. Start recording her behavior, your interactions, and your children's well-being before she begins creating her alternative narrative. Factual evidence won't overcome emotional appeals, but it provides some protection against the most outrageous accusations. Professional help from attorneys who understand gender bias in family court is essential for navigating these emotional minefields.
Most lawyers focus on legal technicalities while ignoring the psychological warfare that determines outcomes. You need advocates who recognize institutional prejudices and plan accordingly. The most important protection is maintaining your emotional stability throughout proceedings that are designed to provoke reactions she can use against you. Every angry outburst, every frustrated response, every moment of desperation becomes evidence that supports her narrative about your character. Remember that these legal attacks aren't about justice or fairness. They're about psychological survival for women who can't face the consequences of their betrayal. Your role is protecting yourself and your children from destruction, not seeking justice from a system that's already chosen sides. Drop a comment and let me know. Have you recognized any of these psychological patterns in your own relationship or divorce? Sometimes seeing the bigger picture helps you understand what felt like random attacks or incomprehensible behavior. Your worth as a man isn't determined by how effectively a woman can manipulate institutions against you. Your value comes from understanding these systems and protecting yourself and your children from psychological warfare disguised as legal proceedings. Thanks for watching, and remember, understanding female psychology isn't about controlling women. It's about protecting yourself from emotional manipulation that destroys families while claiming to protect